In this video, I'm going to share with you how to be a successful business consultant without sacrificing your lifestyle. Let's go. The day that I quit my job and became a consultant was one of the most incredible days of my life. Well, for about 10 minutes, until I realized, oh no, what have I done? For the next 7.5 years, I would spend my life living on the hustle hamster wheel of trying to land business and deliver business as a consultant. Now, I was successful. I was moderately successful. I had a multiple six-figure business, which most people would be pretty happy with. But the problem was, even though at the end of the year, when I would look down at my tax return and the number at the bottom line looked pretty good, it didn't feel very good. I had the quote unquote success, but I didn't feel like it because I was sacrificing my life in the process. Now, the solution to this, I have 5 strategies that I'm going to share with you that I learned the hard way and that I'm going to share with you today so that you don't have to learn it the hard way too. Now, whether you're absolutely brand new and starting your very first consulting practice or you've been doing it for years, I know that these strategies are game changers. So meet me over at the whiteboard so we can get started. So the first strategy for getting off the hustler hamster wheel, as I like to call it, is to monetize your magic, not your time or your effort. Now, what does it mean to monetize your magic? When I talk about monetization, what I'm talking about is your business model. See, your business model is the mechanism by which you turn your magic into money. Now, we can easily turn our magic into money by renting ourselves out. And in fact, that's one of the first things that most consultants do. They charge by the hour and they say, all right, you can rent me. You can rent my brain, you can rent my time, and just pay me for the time. Now, that's an okay strategy to start, but it's not very scalable and it's not very sustainable. And the reason it's not sustainable or scalable is because in order to make more money, you have to sell more time. A much better solution is to monetize your magic. That means to monetize your gifts, your strengths, the things you love to do, and put a price on that rather than selling your time or your effort. Now, there are lots of different business models that help you monetize your magic. My absolute favorite, and the one that I use, is to lead events and groups. What that does is it allows me to monetize my magic because my magic is to lead and facilitate groups of people, and I love doing it. I love being on a stage, I love being in front of a room, I love supporting people and coaching people and helping people. Now, there are other people out there that don't enjoy doing that, and they'd rather be, for example, behind the scenes developing systems and processes, like the guy who produces these videos for me. That wouldn't work for me. I wouldn't like that, but he loves it, and he's able to grow and scale his business doing the thing he loves the most. So I invite you and encourage you to really identify what your magic is, what you're best at. And if you're not sure, check out my videos on how to identify your niche in coaching or consulting. These videos are great at helping you find your superstar sweet spot so that you can monetize your magic instead of your time and your effort. The second strategy is what I call building your butterfly garden. Building your butterfly garden is a long-term strategy to attract business so that you're not having to hunt and chase business for the rest of your life. Now, a lot of times when we are operating in scarcity or we're selling our time or our effort, we end up having to do a lot of work to land new business. I liken that to running around and chasing butterflies with a butterfly net. It expends a lot of energy, it's time consuming, it's tiring, and at the end of the day you only catch usually one butterfly at a time, and that butterfly can easily escape from the net. If you instead invest your time into building a butterfly garden, what you're doing is you're cultivating and nurturing something that will attract clients for years to come. Yes, it takes longer, but I find it much more joyful to cultivate a garden, right? Think about the analogy of planting seeds, right? Putting content out into the world, creating things like events and seminars and workshops and ways to attract people instead of running around chasing clients one at a time. So this is a way to build your brand And one way to build your butterfly garden is by building thought leadership. And I highly encourage you to check out my entire playlist all about how to create your thought leadership, how to brand and market yourself as a thought leader so you can attract more business. The third strategy is to stop selling hours and start selling outcomes. Now, this is kind of similar to number one, but number one is all about selling your magic, but number three is about how you charge for your magic. So instead of selling by the hour, which is really typical for coaches and consultants, I want you to think about selling the outcome. What's the ultimate goal of your client? Can you get them that result? I've used this example before, but it's worth mentioning again. But in the past, I worked with a PR consultant, and that PR consultant would charge me by the hour for doing all this work, all this legwork of creating a press release and sending it to the media and following up with the media and trying to get me into the newspapers and magazines. And then I ran into another kind of consultant, PR consultant, who said, "Oh, I don't charge like that. I don't charge by the hour. You pay me for placements. You pay me when I get the outcome that you want." Now, I ended up working with her and paying her a lot of money for placements, but at least I was getting exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to pay somebody to try really hard. I wanted to pay somebody for getting the outcome I wanted, and I was even willing to pay more to get that outcome than to maybe not get anything at all. So charging for outcomes instead of hours. Now, you can really organize your proposals and your sales process around the outcomes that a client wants. And usually, if you're willing to commit to those outcomes, you can charge a lot more, which makes you a much more profitable consultant, so you don't have to spend as much time and effort to make the same amount of money or way more. The fourth item is also related in the sense that it's all about how you sell and how you monetize your magic, which is to sell the promise, not the production. What that looks like is selling the thing that the client wants. It's very similar to selling the outcomes, but instead of selling the outcomes instead of hours, you're selling the promise, the thing that they want, instead of how you're gonna get there. See, here's the thing. Most clients actually don't care about the production that you use to get to a certain outcome. I didn't care that that consultant didn't do all that legwork. She just had to call her buddy who is at the Miami Herald business desk and say, "Hey, can you hook me up with an article in the front page of the business section of the Herald?" Now, I didn't care that she didn't have to do all that legwork. All I cared about was that she got me that promise. So when you're putting together proposals, you don't have to put together all the different things that you're gonna do, and I'm gonna take this step and this step and this step, and going into all this detail about how you're gonna get an outcome. In fact, all the client cares about is this promise. And when I started to use this formula for my proposals and my sales, I started to shorten my proposals. I used to have 10, 15, 20 page proposals, I kid you not. Now, I hardly ever even write a proposal because I just get right on the phone and I tell them, here's the promise, here's the outcome that you want, and here's what I'm gonna charge for that. And you don't have to worry about how I'm gonna get there, just know that I'm gonna get there. And this is my promise to you, and this is my guarantee to you. And so when you're selling the promise, not the production, you can sell it for a lot more money than when you detail every little thing. Because then what happens? You detail every little thing, and let's say you skip a step. Oh, all of a sudden they might not want to pay you. Well, you didn't do this little piece that you said you were going to do. When you focus instead on the outcome, it gives you flexibility in the consulting process, which you definitely want. You want to be able to lead that process, be able to alter it and change it without having to go back to the client to get permission every time you want to make a change to the production process. And so the last item, number 5, for how to be a successful business consultant is all roads lead to the big back end. You can insert your joke here, but in all seriousness, the big back end is the holy grail of any business, and especially a consulting business. The big back end is how you generate monthly recurring revenues for you and how you generate the real long-lasting transformations for your clients. So the big back end is something that is going to help you make more money, and it's also something that's going to help you be a better consultant and also serve your clients at a higher level. The big back end is the ongoing retainer. It's the ongoing mastery for your clients. Usually when clients come to see you, they need an outcome right there. They have something that's hurting that they need solved. So you do that first. But the whole time, the goal is, how do we get to a place where we're serving this client long term? And generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, every client in your area of expertise, in your niche, has urgent problems and needs that they need to fix right away, and also has opportunities for long-term growth and long-term transformation and mastery. So what you want to identify is how to fix that initial problem, make that initial promise and fix it and help them, and then lead into something that's more long-lasting that can serve you and the client, and you get to collect long-term monthly recurring revenues, which gives you stability and the ability to now grow yourself and also help your clients grow. Now, if you're a consultant already and you're looking to grow and scale your business, then I highly recommend checking out my free Superstar Business Assessment. This will help you identify areas in your business that you can tweak and see a big impact right away. Check it out at superstarbusinessassessment.com. Enjoy.